So my dear friends, my dear Muslim friends, including Mansoor who ran away earlier, who is free now to answer the questions I've asked.
He ran away.
And what's his name? Lamin, who when faced with the question just backtracked and ran away.
He ran away.
Before he showed up again to only conduct his comedy show. Are you back? No, sorry, I'm talking about others, not you. I'm talking about Lamin. I'm talking about...
It's too long. I asked him and he told me to ignore you.
But I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about this gentleman behind the camera. Anytime I ask a question, they run away. Mansoor, anytime I ask a question, run away. Which sheikh did you ask?
Check it. Back check both.
JC.
This is going to take too long because of the...
No, don't worry. Are you based in London? Are you based in London or are you traveling? Have you visited London or you live here?
First time.
In London or in Speaker's Corner?
In London.
How long are you here?
It's been like 4 days.
How many more days are you here?
Maybe 1 day, 2.
Okay, so you're not, okay, next week you're not going to be here?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
It won't be even...
Okay, find out if you can. If you can't find out...
عطنا شوي بس نستعمل جوجل.
ايش تبغى؟
جوجل.
We need Prophet Google.
استغفر الله. What prophet?
What's that?
It's mentioning.
No, read to me. Tell me what it mentions.
That's it.
Yeah. So, coming from the Saracens, and he proclaimed arrival of anointed. Where did the Saracens live?
When you're talking about that, you said like you need historical evidence that there was a prophet at that time and people talked about him.
No. What I am asking you evidence for?
You know, I asked you.
I understood. I'm going to precisely let you know again. No. Listen to me again.
What do you mean?
Listen to me again. I want evidence for Muhammad of Islam.
No,
for example, where did Muhammad live?
Forget about Muhammad.
Where did Muhammad live?
In Mecca. I'm talking about that time. That's a book, very old one. It's mentioning that he's a prophet at that time.
Where does it say he came from?
And when I went out with him, I communicated with his old man. I said to him, what do you say about the prophet when he's appearing with us? Where
did Saracens live? This is the information we need. This is the information we need. I'm not asking if there was a person called Muhammad who lived at that time. I am asking if there was Muhammad of Islam. You know, you have, when you talk about Muhammad of Islam, you have a particular view of him, that he got married.
No.
The first time he married Khadija.
No, you said you believe that Muhammad doesn't exist.
No,
you said to me that earlier.
I can tell you again what I said. I can tell you again what I said. I can tell you again what I said. I said, you asked me again about Umar. I said the same stuff. I have reasons to think Umar of Islam.
So there is another Umar.
Remember.
So
once
there is another Umar.
I have to go, man. Now please come. That's fine. Okay, see you later. Bye. All right. So 4 specific challenges to Mansoor. Challenge number 1. Most of what you know about the Quran comes from 200 plus years later sources.
200 what?
200 plus years later sources. Most of what you know about the Quran. For all that we know, by this time they might have been Harry Potter stories that were put in children's cookie jars. Problem number 1. If you want to contradict that and claim that information about the Quran comes from earlier sources, please bring your evidence. Mansoor, please bring your evidence.
Where's Mansoor?
Mansoor has been in hiding right there. Hiding in plain sight. If I go close to him, he will suddenly ramble on and run away and claim that he is in the middle of a conversation and so on. Claim anything and everything to avoid the question. Challenge number 2.
Alright.
Every evidence points to, and Muslims, including Paul or Nas or anyone else, can challenge us that none of you can provide evidence to explain to us why they think the Hadith sources were properly scrutinized at the time of their writing. What evidence could you show that the Hadith sources were in wide circulation at the time of their writing? If they were not in wide circulation, they could not have been properly scrutinized. And if they weren't properly scrutinized at the time of their writings, for all that we know, they might not even be from the time that you claim they were written down in. That's challenge number 2. Challenge number 3.
Alright.
In any case, the cookie jar stories, the Harry Potter cookie jar stories that you call hadiths, anyway contradict themselves. They have self-contradicting information. That is challenge number 3. Challenge number 4. They also contradict what is established earlier resources or artifacts. 4 specific challenges to claim that your Harry Potter stories are nothing but exactly that, Harry Potter stories.
Harry Potter.
This is why, despite the fact that I've challenged all Muslims at the park, he just looks on. A veteran in Speaker's Corner, Mansoor, just looks on and moves away. Shaky Sheikh Muhammad just looks on and moves away. You know why? Because your Islamic leaders have got no answers to the challenges I am raising. On top of this, you have also been given more fanciful Harry Potter stories. Hey, my dear friend who laughs just from behind the camera, please come over here. Please come over here. Please come here. Well, have you got the courage to come before the cameras?
You do this for free? No. You're too small.
Now, there we go.
Bigger fish.
Bigger fish.
Yeah, too small.
You seem to be. Any answer for the questions I've raised?
You're rubbish.
Okay, no answers. All right. Now, on top of this, you have also been told other Harry Potter stories that the Quran has been perfectly preserved. Now, let us deal with this Harry Potter story next week. Has the Quran been perfectly preserved? When we go through the historical details of the text of the Quran, what we find is that the Quran is a perfect example of how a text could be corrupted. A perfect example of not preservation but corruption. So my dear friend, please bring your sheikhs next week. Not next week, this week. Okay, please bring your sheikhs. Let us see if they have any answers. Are you?
Have you talk Arabic or
Okay, that's fine. I only speak English. I'm really sorry. Arabic, unfortunately, is not that popular. So only English here. But please bring your people who can speak English. Thank you. Any other Muslim who wants to face up to the challenge and respond can do at any time. Hey. All right. Have you got an answer now? What's that?
Do you want to discuss about Jesus?
Don't stick that.
About Jesus? No. We're talking about the Quran right now.
Stick it on you.
About the Quran right now. About the Quran.
About
So
Jesus.
about the Quran.
Jesus.
About the
Why are you
Quran.
afraid about Jesus?
What is the
Why are
earliest
you-
source of information about the text of the history of the Quran?
The other Christian runs away.
Hashim,
Do you want to talk about Jesus?
what is the earliest
Do you want to talk about Jesus?
historical
Okay.
resource
Do you want to talk about
that
Jesus?
gives you
No.
details of
Do
the
you want
history
to
of
talk
the
about
text of the
Jesus?
Quran?
And the Christian here wants to talk about Jesus.
The Quran does not need any defense.
Do you want to talk about Jesus?
I want to talk about Jesus all day long.
Okay,
But
so
right
let's talk
now,
about Let's go.
Right
You
now,
are me.
Jesus. No.
what is the
Now,
earliest
talk about Jesus.
of resources
Talk
that
about
gives you
Jesus.
details about the
Why do
history
you
of the
not want to talk
Quran?
about your God, Jesus Christ? Okay? The reason you said just
Any
you said, do you not say
information
you want to talk about
that
Jesus
gives
all day
you the
long?
history of the text of the
All day
Quran?
long.
That's what. All day long.
Clearly,
That's
Hashim
what
can't
talk to me
answer.
clearly.
Hello, sir.
All day
Clearly
long.
you're afraid to talk.
When
to
is
me
your
about
comedy show ending?
Jesus. All right, anyway.
And your comedy show ended.
Because earlier I asked the same questions. The moment I ask questions, you back off.
As soon as you realize the truth,
So any
and move
answer,
away from Christianity.
any answer to the question, sir?
Move away from Christianity.
What is the earliest of resources you have about the history of the text of the Quran?
We'll
Hey,
tell
don't push
you.
me.
Well,
Don't push me.
get out
Don't
of
push
my
me.
way.
Don't push me. Don't push me. Don't manhandle me. Please. Any answer at all? Earliest of resources.
One of yours.
What? He looks like a human being. He is one of my gang. Yeah, that's right. Any answer? Earliest of resources about the history of the text of the Quran. Did you see that, sir? Every Muslim run away. Every Muslim run away. You know why? Because
I want to engage with you
why?
because you talk nonsense.
Okay.
You talk nonsense. You've been disgraced
Question
so
again.
often.
Question again. Earliest of resources to understand the
I'm not
history of the
running
text of the
away. I'm
Quran.
not engaging.
You're just walking away.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
I am.
All right, good. Thank you.
There's no point talking to you.
That's right. Thanks.
Guys, it's a reasonable Muslim guy.
Yeah, oh, he is, yes. What is the earliest of resources that gives us details about the history of the text of the Quran?
I spoke to you the other day.
I know you did.
didn't
You were
make
really
sense.
lovely to speak to.
Yeah, you didn't make
I really, I should certainly agree that trying to speak to many Muslims, it's a very hard job. You see, the moment I ask questions, he'd run away. But you have been really lovely. The other day I had a very nice
Every
experience
single question
speaking
that
to
you've
you.
ever asked
So
has
I'm going
been
to ask you this question,
answered
please.
over and
What
over and
is-
over, and
what
it can't
is
get into here.
Earliest
This
of
is like
resources
cement.
that we have to understand the history of the text of the Quran.
You have a stupid question.
What?
You have stupid
Any question is stupid question for a Muslim.
He asked really ridiculous.
Any question.
This has been explained to
Have you got
me.
an answer?
This
The
has
other
been
day, brother, the other day.
Have you got an answer?
Okay. I answer the way I want to answer.
Please do. Are you going to
day,
answer now?
the other day,
Maybe a bit later.
Stick that
I'll
on
come
you.
back to you
Stick that
in a
on
bit.
you.
Any answer in the meantime? Are you Muslim, sir?
I know, but no understand.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But you need to come to Jesus Christ. You need to become a Christian. Muslims, clueless. They're clueless. Ask a question, they run away. Okay, please come here then. What is the earliest of resources that you have to understand the history of the text of the Quran? Have you got any answers, sir? What's that? You don't have to debate. It's a simple conversation. You know so you have the Quran.
That's not conversation. This is a debate. If anything about religion is debate.
Not everything.
You know who he is?
Yeah.
You know who he is?
He thinks.
Who is it?
He is the guardian
He thinks you're
The
simple.
Guardian.
of the people who follow Islam, who've left their brains behind at home. He is the guardian of them. He comes here, saves them. Redeemer,
Time again.
Savior.
This has been answered for you time and time and time again.
What do you have in that bag, sir?
None of your business.
Is there any switch I can use now to
try?
try and see if you can begin making sense? Any switch at all somewhere?
Ask him again. Ask him again.
What is the earliest of resources that you can provide to understand the history of the text of the Quran? It's a simple
You
question.
want an answer to that?
Yes, please.
This has been explained to you time and time and time again by several people who are here in the park right now, and it just won't get into there.
The entire day's
Don't
conversations
get into
are on camera, don't worry.
Yeah? It
Have you
just
got an
won't
answer?
get into here.
Have you got an answer?
You've already been given an answer. Why am I going to give you the same answer that's
Do you know?
already been given to you?
Look at him. No answer.
What's the answer, Uncle? So
Any
you
answer?
So you shut him up, yeah.
The answer
Yeah.
has been given to him time and time.
You know what the answer is? He doesn't have a clue. That's the answer. So when asked, he will just repeat the same story time and time again. Uncle, if you don't have an answer, move on, says the gentleman. Please do.
Give the question over.
So are you a Muslim? So you believe in the Quran? Yeah. So you believe?
My brother,
You believe?
My brother.
You see, I told you.
Leave these
Don't
alone.
use brain. Yeah, good.
They are recording this, and they will make you say
least if you don't
stuff.
have debate.
They'll make you say stuff that you never said. Yeah.
At least
Leave them. Just go. These.
You see what he is saying indirectly?
he won't leave alone. He won't leave alone.
If you walk away from him, he can't follow you. Walk away from him. Yeah?
He wants to listen. He wants to think. No, my dear friend.
My dear friend, this
They won't let you
question
think.
has been answered
This
for
is the
you
problem.
time and time and
Your
time
Islamic
again.
friends would not
Time
let you
and
think.
Time and time again. Yeah? Refer back to those videos.
Don't touch
and
me.
learn.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Please don't touch me.
Thank you.
Yo, what's his name?
That is a
JC, what's his
I will
name?
take on board.
The Guardian. The Guardian. No. JC, you've got it wrong. He's not the guardian of Speaker's Corner. He's the guardian of people who leave their brains behind at home and come to Speaker's Corner. That's who he is. Comes here to save them all. Comes here and warns them and says, don't stay near this guy because he asks questions. That's his warning. Now he'll stay behind the camera and laugh all day long. When he is here, no answer. Hello, my dear friend. You are a sensible man. Do you have an answer? Well, I know you'd be back. Any moment, any Muslim is in a trouble, which is all the time, you would be back. I know that. My dear Muslim friends, there is no point following Islam because the history of Islam. Well, okay, let me make this point very, very clear. For anyone who has known Hatun, you might have heard the statement that the standard Islamic narrative has holes. Have you heard that? I am going to tell you something different today. I disagree with Hatun. I do not think the standard Islamic narrative has holes. I don't think so. What I rather think is that the standard Islamic narrative of Islam is nothing but a huge hole. It doesn't have holes. It in itself is a huge hole. So you are back, sir. Can you answer my simple question, sir? If you follow the Quran, do you faithfully follow the Quran? Yes. Do you take the Quran seriously in your life? Yes. In which case, I'm assuming you would have done some background research on the Quran.
Please, you used to worship a cow.
Okay, so my some yes. So my question to you simply is, what? So for example, you know about the Sahabas, the companions of Muhammad, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and so on. Do you find any information about them in this book?
No,
About the Sahabas?
do you
Yeah.
find any information about the
That
disciples
part I
in the
have no
Bible?
knowledge about.
It is not here. I can tell you, there is no information about Umar in particular, for example, or Abu Bakr. It's not here. But we are told Abu Bakr put together the Quran at a particular point in time.
He didn't.
And
Try again. Try
Uthman
again.
standardized the Quran at a
No,
later
try
point in
again.
time. We are told.
No, you're lying. Try
So my
again.
question to you is, if the Quran doesn't talk about them, what is the earliest of resources that you could use, that gives us information about the history of the Quran?
Quran did talk about inside
That's what I have no knowledge about.
Yeah.
So what is
But he
the
doesn't know what
earliest?
is inside Mahajur.
What is the earliest of resources that you could use that gives us information about the history of the Quran?
I'll give you that.
That's good. At least you are willing to agree and accept.
I didn't agree. I said I do not know.
I know. At least you agree that you don't know.
That's what I told you.
Yeah.
He twists your words.
At least you agree that you don't know.
That's why I keep saying I agree. I said I do not know.
Yeah. At least you are willing to say that you don't know. Yeah. This gentleman here, on the other hand,
What language am I speaking?
See what I'm telling
my
you?
dear friend,
Walk away.
at least you are willing to say you don't know. But this gentleman also doesn't know, but listen to what he says. Instead of answering or instead of saying he doesn't know, he will just
My
go on a
brother,
mob attack right now.
brother.
Do you know the answer?
Walk away. The answer has been given to you.
By
How many
who?
times have
By
I
who?
say it's He gave it to you.
This guy gave to me.
Siraj gave it to you.
Lamin told me what is the earliest of resources
Mansoor gave
to
it to
understand
you.
the history of the Quran. What is the
Hashim
answer,
gave
Lamin?
it to you. Yes.
What?
Gave you all of
He
it.
is clueless.
Gave you.
Look at him.
He's
His
clueless.
expression is
He's
priceless.
clueless. He's clueless.
What is the earliest?
Who used to worship 100
He thinks
gods?
He thinks you have given me an answer to explain. You've given me an answer to the question as to what the earliest of resources is there to understand the history of the text of the Quran. Lamin, what's the earliest? No. Answer my simple question, and I might consider.
And then he ran away from me. He doesn't want to debate.
He is a pervert.
Arul.
Don't speak to me. He's a pervert. Now, about you, sir. Lamin,
You don't listen.
what is the earliest?
You're now a person. He's telling you.
What is the earliest
Lying to people.
of
Lying
information
to people.
that gives you details about the history of the Quran?
Where they can't,
Lamin,
make an
any
argument,
answer?
they start insulting
No
you.
answer.
They start insulting
In other
you.
words,
they start insulting
In
you.
other words, my dear friends, Quran is under scrutiny, but the Muslims are clueless. You can't get help from Lamin. What's your name, sir? The Mr. Unhappy, who is the guardian. I know your name. You're the guardian of the people who have left their brains behind before they come to the park. Are clueless when it comes to the history of the Quran. They are unwilling. What is the earliest of resources? If you answer my question, I might consider speaking to you, Lamin.
I'll answer it. Okay, wait. I'll answer it.
Otherwise, you are just a joker.
Okay. You see, that's what they do now. Why is it for the last 3 hours?
What is it? No. Have you got an answer or not?
Muslims.
JC, did you see? No answer. No answer. Time and time again.
Why are you running away? Why are you
Having two mic.
No, sorry. Sorry. He's holding it, yeah. So why can't you have a proper debate?
All right.
Are you scared?
Lamin,
Are you scared?
I'm terribly scared of ignorance.
He's scared. You know why? He's scared. You know why?
Yeah, put that on your YouTube channel. That's good.
Yeah, you got.
No answer. What that you can use to understand the history of the text of the Quran.
No answer. Nobody answer it. Let's debate. I'll answer it.
No, I'm asking.
We'll debate. I'll answer it. Doesn't know.
He doesn't
I know
know
the
the
answer. Let's debate.
Answer.
I don't answer.
What is the earliest of resources?
Let's debate. The Quran. No.
Answer my question.
Answer my question. That's what you do.
Look.
No. Let's debate. Let him speak.
Do you have an answer or not? Lamin, does he have an answer or not? I have reasons to think Lamin does not understand.
With a cameraman asking the same question.
Have you got an answer?
Answer it. Let's debate.
Will you make sure that he answers my question right now?
He's a liar. He's a liar.
Will you make sure that he answers my question right now? Will you make sure, sir? Please, I want to know,
listen to me.
what is the earliest of resources?
Wait.
Answer. Answer.
Now, I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer it.
Answer.
Wait. At the end of the debate, if you debate the Quran or the Bible, which is the word of God.
Answer.
I mean the Bible, you mean the Bible.
Answer. Answer.
You mean the Bible. I'll answer it.
Answer. No answer. Did you hear an answer?
We debate.
Did you hear an answer?
I said, see,
my dear friend, you listen to my question. Did you hear an answer?
That's what they do.
Was there an answer?
Look at me. Look at me, Oscar. Look at me. No, look at me. Look at there. Look at me.
Did he give an answer?
No, look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Did he give an answer?
Look at me.
No answer.
Look at him.
These are people who waste time. Was there an answer?
There is no
You can't debate.
Was there an answer?
Nothing there. You haven't studied the Bible. You don't believe in the Bible.
He's laughing at you.
He's laughing at
He's
you.
laughing at
He's
Lamin.
laughing at you.
All right, my dear friends, it's time to wrap up.
You got 4 against 1.
He's a Muslim. He's a Muslim.
Have 1 against 1. Alhamdulillah.
2 against 1. 2 against 1.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Lamin normally cries when he goes 1-to-1.
These charlatans wet their pants because they haven't studied their Bible.
All right.
Or the Bible.
So the conclusion,
he's scared.
the conclusion is clear.
That Christianity.
No answer. No answer to a simple question I asked many hours ago. So the conclusion is simple. Give up. Give up Islam and move on.
He said, wait, so
give up on the Quran and move on. God's blessings to you all. Thank you very much. If you are not a Muslim today, please do not consider this seriously. Give up on this. Thank you.
Join Islam.
Why do you lie to people? Why do you approach innocent
Any
Muslims?
answer, Lamin?
Innocent Muslims.
Still no answer.
No, debate. You can't debate.
Still no answer.
For 3 hours, same questions. I'll answer it. If you debate.
No answer.
No, I'll answer it. Can you do? I'll answer it. Look at me. He's scared now. Look, he's scared. You are scared. Yeah.
Any answer?
Because as a charlatan.
Any answer?
You are. Yeah. No, you can't. Don't look at me. Yeah, you can't
It's
even look at
what's
me.
called desperation.
No, no.
This guy McDonald's. Can you believe this? I'm asking him serious questions about Islam. No, please capture. That's Islam on display.
Look.
I'm asking him serious questions about Islam, and his answer is McDonald's. This is his answer.
Arul.
Lamin, unless you answer my previous question, you have no credibility to your God beard.
You know why, brothers and sisters? This guy is scared because a charlatan.
Your Muhammad like beard doesn't help you.
Alhamdulillah, I know you don't like this.
Any answer?
Alhamdulillah, I know you guys you don't like this.
Do you have any answer?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
What is the answer? Alhamdulillah is the answer.
Alhamdulillah.
Can you believe? Okay.
Alhamdulillah, I know guys you don't
I
like
don't
this.
want your Alhamdulillah. Do you have an answer?
Alhamdulillah, I know guys you don't like this.
Okay.
Any answer?
You will come to me.
Yeah, answer.
Come to me.
Any
Don't
answer?
answer anything.
I'm French, I
Don't.
don't
It's fine.
All right. He is French. He does not have an answer.
Come there.
All right. Thank you, my dear friends.
Look at you.
I need to.
Shame on you.
Enough.
Shame on you, Arul.
Enough.
Shame on you.
Give the answer to
No, they can't debate.
because nobody knows.
All right. The earliest of resources that gives you most of the history of the Quran is a book that you claim, you yourself claim, was written about 200 plus years after the Quran, after the time of Muhammad, the Hadiths, the earliest of which is Sahih al-Bukhari.
They believe in the Bible.
In other words, what you believe in are cookie jar lies, Harry Potter stories. Give up. Thank you.
What about the Quran, Arul? When was the Quran
Innocent
written?
Muslims.
You Christian?
Who come here?
He asked what is your religion.
I am a Christian.
I was too. I was before.
And why exactly did you leave that?
What's the Trinity?
Why exactly did you leave that?
Why? I was Christian.
Why exactly did you leave that?
Yeah, but I ask you.
What do you mean? Yeah, I'm asking you a question. I'm
Yeah.
looking for an
The
answer.
Trinity, about the Trinity. Or
About the
everything.
Trinity? You live because of Trinity.
I know.
Why? You're scared, insipid. You're
Lamin, if you want,
You're insipid.
JC, do you remember the debate that we last had somewhere there a couple of years ago? We need to put that up
Let's
again
debate again. Let's debate.
because Lamin cannot debate.
Nobody. Let's
I
debate.
don't think it's a good use of my time to debate him. I love him in Jesus Christ, but I don't consider him to be a debater.
You can't debate.
If Lamin comes to me,
expose you.
if Lamin comes to me and tells me
Did I debate with you?
that
I expose you.
if Lamin comes to me and tells me he wants to have a joke, thank you very much. God's blessings to you all. When you come next week, please come with an answer, sir. Please, not with a laughter, but an answer. Thank you very much. God's blessings.
You make me laugh. You want two times.
Whose is this? Is that Fred? JC, is this yours?
Oh, yes, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. So we are wrapping up.
For the proper debate.
Oh, sorry, we are wrapping up. I have made 4 specific points. I have made. I'm wrapping up right now. I have made 4 specific points. Islam, the Quran is not to be taken seriously. Point number one is that
It's a waste of time.
Most of information about the history of the Quran you get from a source which comes 200 years after the Quran. There is no point listening to it. Point number 2. In any case, even at the point of the claimed supposed writing of the Hadith, there is no proof that they were widely scrutinized properly. And so point number 2 is even the 200 years after the time of Quran, that is not good enough. Point number 3. Point number 3. You've been too loud. Lamin, too loud. Where is your volume button? Where is the volume button? Point number 3. Point number 3. The hadiths, in any case, are self-contradictory. Point number 4. The hadiths contradict known historical earlier artifact. 4 specific challenges. Lamin can't deal with any of them. So we are wrapping up right now.
You are insipid. You are charlatan. No, Lamin, or liar.
You are desperate, Lamin. Thank you, Lamin.
Look, for 3 hours. For 3 hours, you are approaching Muslims.
Avoiding Lamin is a qualification.
You are desperate to lie.
If someone avoids Lamin, it is good reason to think he is a sensible man. So I'd like.
What's topic? Lamin
Lamin can't debate. He would.
Let's debate.
What's the topic, brother?
He wants to debate with you. Thank you.
No.
So you can discuss with him later. Now, thank you very much. God's blessings.
You're shame. You're shameful. You're a coward. Why are you a coward?
God's blessings, Lamin.
You're a coward. You liar. You come and lie to people, you run away.
Jesse.
You wet your pants. Stop approaching Muslims. Stop. Shame on you. Stop approaching innocent Muslims.
Captain. What is your name, Sam? What is your name?
Look at it. Look at the SOCO. SOCO, come here. SOCO, come here.
All right.
What's wrong with these guys?
Okay.
SOCO.
Okay.
Your guys are insipid.
I think he wants to debate the
Your
Quran.
guys are insipid. What's wrong with them?
He wants to debate the Quran, apparently.
Never debates the Quran.
It does not. No contradiction. The Bible. I'll show you.
But debate the Quran.
You believe in the Bible.
The Quran.
Prophets are there.
Debate the Quran.
Bibles.
Debate the Quran.
I believe in the Quran.
Lamin. People have now come. You have been roaming around without your drugs for too long.
What a shame.
People are now after you.
What a shame.
Thank you.
What a shame.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. What a shame on him.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, shame on him. Thank you. For 3 hours. 3 hours. Yeah, be a man. Be a man now. The chicken had a wimp. Be a man. Yeah. Okay, shall we go? For 3 hours. Yeah. Look at him.
Desperate people.
Yeah, because you're scared. You're scared. Do you believe the Bible? Do you believe the Bible? No, he does it.
Don't push me.
He does it. I say he does it. He believes them. No, he doesn't. I believe the Quran. Give me the Bible. They are not the same. Shame on you.
You like this voice, huh? You like it. This is your God's voice.
Arul, give up.
You are a man.
No, give up.
Say to your wife, you are a man.
Give up your nonsense. Give up your crap now. Give up your bantram. Give up your nonsense.
You're going to get a heart attack.
Jesus was Lord. Yeah.
You're going to get a heart attack.
Daddy was Jesus. Run away. What a shame on you. What a shame. What a shame. Look at your face.
That's all done. All done, family. No answer from the Muslims. No answer from Lamin. No answer from Sam. And that's another reason to doubt the Quran as a holy book. Especially since nobody can give a straight answer. So with that in mind, take care, family. Love you all. Pray for these Muslims.
Shame on you. 3 hours.
Only be served.
Ask me questions. For 3 hours. For 3 hours, you ask me questions.
Cut.